So, hello, my dear subscribers. Hope you are doing pretty good and just stay safe out there. Uh, my job is to bring you content, but this time it's going to be different. It's not a motor blog, it's not about bikes, it's about tech. So, it's a very different thing that I'm doing for my channel. And yes, something that I want to share with all you guys is how I went from this to this, upgraded to this, and this too, and finally this. To what? I took the plunge in this. Yes, you're right, you see it right. It's the Apple 13 Pro Max iPhone, and yes, that's what I took the plunge in. iOS and Apple, here I come.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia?
Hey guys, so yes, before I get on to the main topic, I just want to share some my journey in my how I have gone through the journey of various brands and cell phones. I started off with Nokia. That's what everyone started with, right? So the 6600, 6630. Then you had the business phone, that is the E62. Then came in the N series, which I really liked. So I had the N82, N95. The N8 was my last Nokia phone, and then I took a plunge into Samsung. So Samsung was the S2 was my first Samsung phone. Beautiful AMOLED screen, good features. For that time, it was the best flagship. And then I went on to the Note 2. Then on went to the Note 4, which I have here, which is completely dead. The motherboard is gone. This is the Note 4. After the Note 4, the Note 7 was obviously exploding. So I went into the S series, which is the S7 Edge, the pearl black 128GB. After that, I waited for a long time and I went into the Note 9. Now, if you ask me what are the other phones, this was the J8. This is the M30s, sorry. And this is my latest one, which is the F62. Now, these are mid-range phones which I use for my office. And yes, I have to tell you that I keep my personal phone and my office phone separate. Makes life a little more peaceful. So yes, we'll talk about the mid-ranges later. This is what I want to talk about, the Note 9. So basically, I've purchased this phone when it was launched in August 2018, and this was a flagship phone. This is the 512GB version, the blue with the yellow S Pen. So this was one of the features. And yes, the superb display, the camera, you have even the O2 sensor, the oxygen meter, the health readout here, which is not there in the current Samsung phone. The headphone jack is there. You have USB fast charging up to 5 watts, I believe. Yeah, that it's good. Yes, I've been a Note fan all my life, a Samsung fan all my life. You will see all these phones are all Samsung. I just took the plunge one time into MI for my mid-ranger, which is the MI Redmi Note 4, and the phone conked off within 6 months. I got rid of it and got the J8. After that, I got the M30s and now the F62, which I'm using as my daily driver for office. Now, coming back to the Note 9, did I get bored of this phone? No. Was I not happy with the phone? I was happy with the phone. Problem was, there were two problems. The camera, right, compared to my friends have the Note 10, the Note 20 Ultra, this camera is getting quite dated. It is a beautiful snapper. It takes very good pics. And if you see my Instagram page, you will see good photographs clicked with this phone. But yes, it was somehow dated and I was having battery issues. Obviously, it's a 3-year-old phone. This is the maximum I've used any phone, that is 3 years. Lovely phone this is. It's like, I mean, you can see the condition, it's still great. But why, I mean, why did I need the change to, why did I change? Software updates. I'm stuck on Android 11 here. So my mom has an S20 FE. I just got her upgraded to Android 12, One UI 4.0. This is on One UI 3.1, I believe, or 3. That's it. I just get security updates. Why? Why Samsung? Why? So I was kind of very hesitant to move out of Samsung and Android because I like customization. I like the way Samsung screen looks. I like the way the look and feel of the glass, everything. Very premium phones Samsung makes, including the S series. The current S22 is going to get launched soon. Then why did I shift to this? This is the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and this is the 512 GB version. This is also a 512 GB, but with an SD card. Now, why did I take this plunge? Why? You would ask me that you lose your customization, you lose everything. Why did I take it? I'll just give you a small brief as to why. See, coming back to Apple, when it comes to Apple, I have never hated Apple phones. What I used to hate is the very compact ecosystem that it is in. It is quite restrictive in some ways. So my friends used to have iPhones. I used to sometimes tease them, oh, I can't send you pictures by Bluetooth. I can't do this, I can't do that. You can't take this, you can't do that. I can do everything. I can have a pen. I can do everything. But then suddenly reality hits, and then suddenly you realize ki what do you need? What do you actually need? What you need is speed. What you need is optimization. What you need is a world-class camera, one of the best in the business, because I click a lot of photos and I need a very good camera. I need very good battery life, and I need something that is not very complicated and will not kind of complicate my life, and very simple, easy to do stuff, which I did a lot of research before getting into the iPhone. I asked a couple of my friends. So basically I took a number. I thought out, asked 10 people who shifted from Android to iOS specifically, and this is what I got. So I was told that once I shift from Android to iOS, I won't shift back. So I said, why? Do you don't like Android phone? They said, no, nothing is wrong with Android phones. Once you're stuck to iOS, you're stuck to iOS, because iOS makes you do things in a more simple manner, in a more efficient manner, and it's no the hunky-dory stuff. It is just simple. It's plain simple. I mean, the widgets, I have to have the widgets on the screen. I don't want to fiddle it. Apple doesn't allow me to fiddle the widgets on the screen, but simple things like doing day-to-day tasks in a very efficient way, in no nonsense manner, and plain simple vanilla. So with iOS 15 now you get widgets. With iOS 14 actually the widgets started, so that was a good move by Apple. So what Apple does is, I have realized is, basically I used to tease them for that, and they launch features very late, but when they launch it, it is like wow. So maybe widgets and picture-in-picture took them about 5-6 years, but now when I compare the picture-in-picture on the Note which I used and when I use it on my iPhone, it is a huge difference. It is so seamless. The transitions are so perfect that I feel that the picture-in-picture that I used to use on the Note was very stuttery, very stuttered. So that's what I mean. Now coming back to the iPhone 13, yes, so I'll majorly talk about Samsung and Apple. I'm a Samsung fan. I was a Samsung fanboy. I am still, because I still use my F62 for my office use. Now this I've recently bought about last year, and it's a good phone. It's a good phone. It's a very good phone, but that I use only for my office use. So when it comes to the camera, the iPhone clicks the most realistic picture. I mean, when I say realistic, I can use the word true tone. In Samsung, the pictures come good, but the skin tone is different, your skin highlights are different, you look fairer, you look brighter. The photo itself is more brightened up, and I think so that is what people like in Samsung, because it kind of brightened up and saturates the picture to give that wow effect. But that is not what the iPhone does. The iPhone gives you a real true tone picture, which I appreciate. And in editing, when I edit this picture on Lightroom, I don't use filters. I hate filters, I don't use them. When I edit in Lightroom, I can actually play around with a lot of highlights and the sharpness and the texture, the clarity of the entire picture as a whole. And editing a picture taken on the iPhone vis-a-vis a picture taken on a Samsung is, I feel, the after you edit, the photos come really good, and it enhances the photo even more. Not that the photo did not need enhancing, but obviously every photo has to be edited. That's what I feel. But yes, I liked the true tone picture pics taken by the iPhone. And why did I go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Yes, because of the additional camera. You have the LiDAR sensor, you have the 3 cameras, the ultra wide, you also have a macro mode in this. The sensors are big, so basically night shots are really good, and I've actually tried them. The display is actually almost the same, but in Samsung and Apple, what they do is, if you see the picture is actually, the phone in Samsung is a bit longer, whereas in Apple they make it more broader. So that is what it is. So coming back to the question of why Apple and why did I choose this phone. Yes, it was an expensive, it's an expensive phone, and when I say expensive, it's shit expensive. This is the 512GB version. Why I chose the 512GB? Because I need that much data. I do my blogging. This is my blogging camera. And yes, the video is taken from an either iPhone 13, which is my wife's iPhone 13. So yes, 4K videos, HDR, Dolby Vision, all that comes in, which is not come in this. What I miss in, what I like in Apple is, firstly, the battery life. It is amazing. So I can get about, I mean, I've just got about what, 10 hours of screen on time. I can show you. This is ridiculous. I mean, check this out. 10 hours 24 minutes of screen on time. This phone is a freaking beast. I mean, it just doesn't die. I mean, I've played a game of Call of Duty on this phone, and it just doesn't die even at 8%. I mean, you really have to juice it out to let the phone die. On extremely heavy use, which includes WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, your social media, camera, video, phone calls, messages, I can easily last a day and a half with my usage. Easily a day and a half. So that is how I perceive the battery life, which is not in the case of Samsung or Android. In any Android, now if you see my F62, this has a 7000 mAh battery. 7000, that's a freaking power bank inside. But my iPhone 13 Pro Max outdoes this in all aspects. This won't last me 2 days on heavy use because of the different things like optimization and all that. So yes, optimization is the key, which Apple is really good at. Not only with these phones, with their iPhone 13 also, I find it very snappy. The second reason I went for it is the ProMotion display. Now yes, Android fanboys would tell me that, oh, we already had 120 Hz in our phones and all that, Apple is too late and all that, blah blah blah. But yes, when I talk about ProMotion and Apple, it's like it's really snappy. So it's really snappy. And the best part of this is an LTPO screen. What is an LTPO screen? In layman language, it is an adaptive screen which adapts to the refresh rates. So I can bump it up. So according to my usage, the screen adapts to 120 hertz and can go down right to 10 hertz. Now this is a very important thing in saving battery, because if I don't need a screen or an activity to be run at 120 hertz, but still the screen is running at 120 hertz, what's the use? I'm draining battery, I'm stressing the CPU. Why would I do that? So when I see websites and all that, if I'm scrolling fast through websites, then it might bump up to 120. If I'm playing games like Call of Duty or Genshin Impact, it will bump up to 120 hertz. But when I don't need it, it can go to 60 hertz, it can go to 10 hertz. The difference in iPhones is, when I compare 60 hertz iPhone, which is the iPhone 13 which I'm shooting right now, and if I shoot and I use the 120 hertz on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I don't feel a very night and day difference, because Apple iOS animations and the way it's so snappy, you really need to have a hawk eye to see that. But yes, if I use a 60 hertz Android and a 120 hertz Android, huge difference. It is evident there on. So that is one thing I like. So we have done with the battery, we've done with the camera, we have done with the display. Now I'll talk about the overall usage of this phone. Yes, the phone is actually premium glass. It's a flat surface. It's very nice to hold. So this is going back to the iPhone 5 designs, and it's very nice to hold in the hand. Though I'm using a case. Always use a case, guys. And yes, one thing I missed about the camera, I take a lot of portrait shots, and I have to say, portrait shots on the iPhone are unmatched. So I was a big fan of portrait shots on, so that's what you call live focus on Samsung. I was not very happy because sometimes the photo used to come really good, but sometimes the hair used to kind of get blurred out, your ear, small details. When I click a photo of the bike, the visor used to kind of get washed out. So that, in that aspects, the iPhone is not that way. It takes really crisp photographs. This has a 3x telephoto, 3x zoom, so that can be used in the portrait shots. You have a 1x shot also in portrait and a 3x shot. So I mostly use a 3x shot because that gives a very nice DSLR kind of effect. Now, talking of stability, yes, this has a sensor shift technology. So that is something in mirrorless cameras that you use. So basically, instead of the lens moving, the entire, there's a system of magnets attached to the lens which actually moves. So the lens does not move. It for the optimization. The actual, there's a plate down with magnets and copper and all that, so that moves. So that is kind of good stuff that they have built, and all three have the OIS, so that's very good. That's why if you see, the camera module is huge. It's a huge bump. It's a damn huge bump. Yes, what Android fanboys or maybe Samsung fanboys would say that, oh, you need to carry an extra charger. Obviously now there's no headphone jack. I don't get a charger in the box. Maybe I have no dual SIM, but yes, this has an eSIM which you can use in dual SIM. Yes, that's there. And yes, there's no USB-C, so that's a big bummer, because I have to buy another charger. I get a lightning port cable. I need to carry that cable everywhere. So, but that's not a deal breaker. What I'm getting is much more than what I expected. I'll admit this, I used to hate Apple, but of late I've started appreciating them since the iPhone 11, for their design, for their cameras, for their battery efficiency, the way overall iOS has actually developed into a platform wherein, I'll quote this, that I used to feel kind of jealous, seeing the iPhone guys a little, sharing by airdrop. basically I cannot do this if I have a Samsung phone. If somebody comes with an Vivo, I can use Wi-Fi direct. I mean, I have to use a third-party app like AirDroid or something like that, or some other option that we used to use, ShareIt, which I don't use anymore. That, so basically Samsung to Samsung is really fast, but then again it's Samsung to Samsung. So this, in the similar way, it's like iPhone to iPhone. So you have things like your shared album where you can easily share pictures with your friends. You have your location. So also coming back to the ecosystem, this is not my watch. I had a similar watch, the 46mm, which I sold. This I used to use with my Note 9. It was my wife's watch, which is 42mm. I actually had to switch to the Apple Watch. So the entire ecosystem is so well designed that it is seamless. So as soon as I start my Apple Watch, it syncs with my iPhone, and that's it. I don't have to do anything, nothing at all. Yes, now coming back to security and privacy, I find Apple in terms of privacy too good. I mean, too good. Yes, people, there might be little hiccups here, there, everybody faces it, but in terms of privacy and the way the iPhone takes it seriously, or Apple takes it seriously, it's commendable. On the Samsung, I used to have I have a fingerprint scanner, I have a iris scanner, so it scans your irises, and you have a face recognition here. On this, I don't have a fingerprint scanner, I don't have iris scanner. What I have is a facial scanner, face scan, but you call it Face ID. But this is not no ordinary face scan. You just put this then. This is a 3D image. So what Apple does is, when you configure your face, it takes a 3D image of your face, whereas Samsung takes a 2D image. This can be fooled with a photograph. Even if you're sleeping, somebody can just take your phone and just shoot it towards you and it will unlock. Not in case of this. So there's an option here wherein you have to open your eyes. You have to enable that. You have to open your eyes and look at the phone like as if you are handling the phone. So some imposter cannot just come while you're sleeping and just unlock your phone and go. That doesn't happen. So yes, and Face ID is super quick. I can actually say that it's like super quick. I mean, this is the phone, unlocked, that's it, it's done. So that extra step of actually swiping up, that is kind of a little irritating, but there must be a reason why it's done there, because the notification shade and all is there. So that is one thing I like about the security of Apple, and why I appreciate Apple for that. I do miss the fingerprint scanner at times, but yes, I've gotten a bit used to it. So coming back to why I actually took the plunge is three main reasons. First, the camera. Second, the overall optimization and software updates, which I'm going to come to. And third is the battery life. Amazing. No, this is the beast. This is the king of battery till now. And I'll tell you one more thing. The S21 Ultra, the Mi 11, the Mi, the flagship, all the flagship phones basically have 5000 mAh of battery. This has 4300 odd, so 4200 something. So I can just check it on 4300. With 4300 mAh, imagine it is taking out so much of juice out. It is lasting me the entire day with ProMotion on 120 Hz, and the processor doing its job in terms of efficiency. That's the beauty. So optimization is the key, which I think so all manufacturers should actually go for. So basically Snapdragon, I've heard a lot of Snapdragon 888 kind of getting heated up and all that shit. So I think so they should learn from Apple that it's not a rat race that who is the fastest, who is the strongest, who is the quickest. It is who's the most efficient and who does the quickest job. So basically there has to be a balance of both. It has to be really lightning fast, quick, and it has to be efficient. Otherwise you will just end up getting fast keys and your battery will go for a toss, or your battery will do well but your phone is very laggy. So that cannot be either wise. Also coming back to the processor, this is the A15 Bionic with a 5-core GPU, and the iPhone 13 model gets the 4-core GPU. So this juices out the complete processor. It's an A15, and I have to say, playing games doesn't heat up. Yes, if you play a game like Genshin Impact or something like that, but very high demanding CPU usage game, then I believe then that the processor will get heated up. And what the iPhone does, it dims down the screen. So basically, screen dimming was an issue with the iPhone 12, which was really bad. People have lost their drones and all in direct sunlight and all that, because the screen became so dark they could not see anything. But in the iPhone 13, that is kind of sorted because the cooling system is a little better. And yes, the phone is heavy, so the phone is definitely heavy. This is light, but definitely what the Pro models get is a stainless steel frame, whereas the 13 and the 13 mini gets the aluminum frame. So yes, this is a few pointers that I had, and no offense to the Samsung fanboys, but I was one too. But lately I've just realized that when things have to get done, they have to get done in a very precise and a simple manner, very no nonsense, no fuss, no nothing. And I believe Apple does it really well. Coming back to iOS and the apps, yes, not all apps, 98% of the apps are there. The best part about the App Store is I don't get malware apps. So Samsung need to take serious feedback on installing apps without my permission. So basically on my F62, this is my office phone, I had apps like Moj and MK Takatak and Paytm, which even after deselecting and hitting continue, they gave me a recommendation that do you have to install these apps. I said no, I don't want to. I deselect everything, hit continue. After 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I see on my phone all those apps are installed. Why? So you have unnecessary ads on the stock apps as well, like you have the Galaxy Store, which is rated with apps. The inbuilt weather app is basically having ads. Samsung was definitely going to launch a software update to solve that. But I don't care if your stock apps have apps, then I don't know the difference between MI and Samsung. So that's something that is not appreciated. The weather app on the iPhone is brilliant. So basically what iPhone did is they bought Dark Sky, which is the best weather app in the world. So if you see this weather app, how fluid, it's like the best, shows the air quality index, everything. So if I tap here, you get a full air quality index of where you're staying. So this is kind of really brilliant. And yes, coming back to an overall thing, I'm not against Samsung. I'm still using a Samsung F62. But what I appreciate about Apple is how efficient it is, how simple it is to use. And though I don't get a lot of customization features, but yes, definitely I love the way the phone is. I have no ill feelings about it. Yes, downloading songs, everything, that all I miss. But yes, I do have Apple Music. I use Spotify anyway, so that is sorted. And yes, so my plunge into Apple was a very impulsive one. After the iPhone 13 was launched, I remember kind of ranting about oh my god, they didn't include this, they have included the 120 hertz now, and why. But when they do it, the whole world sees what they have done and how they have done it, how they have implemented it. So basically when you launch a feature, it is not the feature, everybody can go wow the feature, but how that feature works, and in comparison to its peers, and how efficiently it works, how seamlessly it works. That is what Apple does right. So I might be just going on and on about Apple, but yes, something that I don't that I miss, yes, is the S Pen. So the S Pen is something that I miss in Apple. Yes, definitely, but it's a trade-off that I took. And no offense to anyone for this, but this is not a sponsored video. This is just a video that I wanted to share from my heart. as to why I took the plunge into iOS. And in case you will have any queries, any comments, do put them in the comment. I know what type of comments are going to come, but yes, definitely I appreciate any feedback from my subscribers. But definitely Android 12 is out and it is launching on all Samsung devices, and I feel after Apple launching the software updates, Samsung is one of the next best company that does it, obviously after the Google Pixel and all that, but as a company as a whole. So Apple promises 5 years of support for the software. So my friends having the 6S also have iOS 15. That's crazy. That's a phone that launched in 2015. My 2018 phone will not get updates. This is what I don't like, and this is why I changed. So this is something I really, after spending so much on this phone, I still just get only 2 major updates. I mean, ridiculous. But if at all you have an Apple phone, 5 years, no tension, no fuss, you will get your updates, you will get your security updates. So yes, this is something that I want to share with you all. I hope you like this video, and if at all I have missed anything in this video, please do write in the comment section below. And yes, sorry if I've hurt anyone's feelings. This was not a Samsung versus Apple comparison, but yes, this was my viewpoint that I wanted to share, and yes, it's a free country, so we can definitely share it. Thank you so much for watching, and do stay subscribed. I see a lot of you not subscribed onto my channel, so do hit the subscribe button. It will really encourage me to make more videos like this and more content of the bike. So more biking content coming, and yes, it's really bad scene out there, so do take care of yourselves and your family. Stay safe, and bye bye.